Everyone thinks that the CEO is just this big luxurious position, where no, it's a position of problem solving at the highest level. That's what a CEO does. Make sure that we can still make things happen. Keep the numbers right. Make a profit. That's our job.
For one guy, 24 hours for another guy, and they're apprentices. He says, yeah. He says, well, they were on that job alone and they really didn't know what they were doing. And I said, why the fuck are they working alone? What, dummy leading dummy? Break it down and have your two leads have an apprentice. Then you have two direct reports from your journeyman only, and they will keep you informed if your apprentices are coming along. I said, they're not getting it done. They're just running up big hours on your jobs. And if said, so you want to have two direct reports and you have to, I want a folder given to the man who's running the job with the numbers on it for each individual task. I don't want it to say bathroom remodel. I got it figured for 200 hours. No, I want it broken down. I have two guys for this 8 hours. I got two guys for this 16. I have 17 hours for this portion. It's got to be broken down that way so the guy has a goal in the field. If he doesn't have a goal in the field, he'll milk that son of a bitch, smoke a couple of cigarettes, have a long lunch, and before you know it, he doesn't get the shit done in time. And I said, and that's what the problem is right now. He says, well, we're putting the numbers on the computer, on the Service Fusion, which is our software. I says, I didn't say I wanted that. I want it on a fucking piece of paper. They don't look at the computer. They're in the field. They work with paper. They work at tangent items. The only thing they're looking at the phone for is fucking porn.
And that, folks, this is the follow-up to Wesley. I started recording Wes, but this is the follow-up to Wesley getting on the truck and seeing what was going on his remodel operation. So you guys got questions, comments, you can comment below. But there's also the videos on this effort, right? Which were, I think, our previous 2 episodes that were following that. And if you have trouble finding, comment, but we're trying our best here. But anyway, so Wesley was saying before I started recording that his not main progress, but one of the main asks, right, had to do with documentation, which has to do, hey, I'm going to set the expectations. You're going to do X jobs and whatever. And you're going to document that you did it or whatever problems you had, right? You had a barrier, whatever. Document something. And that was the agreement. And then what happened was they changed something on you.
So the problem is that they didn't have any documentation. There was a breakdown in communication between the foreman who bid it and the guy who's running the job. The guy who's running the job doesn't know what the guy is thinking that's in the office. And that guy in the office has got to relay what he's thinking to the guy in the field for a couple reasons. So the guy knows what is asked of him and the time allowed to do that job and try to meet that goal to get that job done and the hours allotted. If you don't give that to a man, the man is just going to work systematically, one thing at a time, and there's no hustle behind it. We're trying to make a living here. We're trying to make money. And we can't make money if it's going to take you too long on these jobs. So that is the problem. And the problem I'm finding out is with the foreman not taking good notes. They have data. I said, so, okay, this job, how much did you lose on this? You lost X amount of dollars on this. Okay, how many hours did you have on it? How many did you bid up for it? I said, because what's missing on here is your notes. I just got this and no notes involved. So how many hours did you have bid for this job? You don't know, do you? You knew at one time, but you don't have no notes, so you can't refer back to it. And you can't even scale anything because you don't have that data. You need to write this stuff down when you the job, quoting the job. You could have 4 pages of scratch notes with big, ugly drawings. It doesn't matter. They're notes. They're things that trigger things in your head that give you the opportunity. And then you can go back and look at it maybe later when you're not on the job and say, yeah, I think it's going to take a little more time on that portion. I think it's take a little less time. I think it's going to take X amount of hours. But now you relayed that written on a piece of paper, which the notes then also should go to the guy in the field. So he can know what the hell you're thinking.
Yeah.
And that was been the problem the whole time, is that these guys don't know what's asked of them because they never have a deadline. They never have, a shut off. Time's up. They don't have it. And they need that. So they got to know what you're thinking and how you bid it for the hours you bid it for. So they can say, okay, hey, I got to hustle here. Or maybe I got this job done in 6. He bid it for 8. I got it done in 6. I get 2 extra hours for this other area that I know it's going to be a struggle for me, and break it down that way. And then I also went and talked to the foremen themselves. And I said, from this day forward, I do not want you to accept a job from your foreman unless he's got hours written down. If he doesn't have hours written down, throw it right back at him. Say, until the hours written down, I'm not taking the job.
That is a great, oh God, that was a great idea. When did you tell him that?
What's that?
When did you tell him that?
Yesterday, when I found out these problems. From the results we were getting, I said, that's what I did. I went to the foreman and said, you don't take a job unless you have hours allowed. So you know how many hours you got to work.
I thought Wes's idea to also put the onus on the person doing the task, that they will refuse the instruction or the assignment from their foreman if it doesn't come with the expectation of hours, is amazing for so many reasons. But I want you guys to comment below and ask a question: why is it amazing? Or tell us why. I know why it's amazing. One of the reasons, right? But there are many reasons why that is a good strategy, and actually a complete non-confrontational strategy. Because he can be absolutely transparent. But let me ask you, did you tell your foreman that that's what you told his people?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I haven't seen him yet today, but it's coming. But another thing I also did, I went to the bookkeeper in that department and I said, you don't book a job on the calendar until you see the hours.
Now you got the trifecta, because you were controlling the intake, right? The intake and also the transmission, because you can control her, but if the people are still taking jobs without the hours, now you can't match. Because now if the people do the job, you know what I mean? If it's impossible for them to do the job in the amount of hours, guess what? You know what I mean? The guy has to adjust his price or adjust how things are kitted and everything else. So that is really the key here. You have a problem. One of the first questions is, do people even know their expectations?
Right.
You know what I mean? And if there are, does anybody hold anybody accountable for them being there, or are they just window dressing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that speed limit that you never pay attention because there is nobody watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, you have a sense of speed limit, but never a cop comes around. If you know that there's not even a judge in that town, no one is going to respect that at all.
No. And another thing too, these 2 apprentices went 3 additional days on a job that, and I says, well, why did it take them so long? Did you underbid it? He goes, well, they just didn't have the skill set to do it in the time allotted. He said, and then, I was out of town. I was on a vacation, yada. So the cat's away to my plate. He said, yeah, I had to send him there for 2 extra days. I says, it says 24 on their paperwork. It doesn't say 16. So it wasn't 2 extra days, it was 3. So you didn't give them an expectation when it needed to be done. They sucked another hour, a day out of it.
Yeah, that's when people kind of gaslight you, and sometimes it's hard. But I think, like I said, you did great. Like this whole, dude, don't accept if there are no hours. Don't accept if there are no hours. Now you just have to set it, follow up. That's what you got to do. Follow up.
Yep.
Which is
That's
the
exactly
critical
what we're doing.
piece. Follow up. And let's quit the seminars. If you're losing money, I don't know what the heck there's seminars for. Just saying. I don't know what people think. Comment below. That's Jay's idea. If your department is losing money, okay, I don't know what seminars are for. Like, what are you saying? Like, maybe as long as a seminar for him to learn how to write it down, seminar to find a piece of paper, a seminar to follow up with your people, a seminar to don't be lackadaisical when you're losing money for a company that is not Microsoft. It's not like the R&D department of Microsoft. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, willy-nilly, just do whatever. No. It's supposed to feed people and have some left for whoever's the CEO of the damn thing, whoever's, putting the money.
Accountability.
Accountability is key everywhere. And I mean, it's a work in progress. I'm 100% accountable to everything that I do, but I do think about it often.
Well, me too.
But anyway, so this is a short one because we recorded one live and then we're like, oh man, what hung up and was like, oh, I also wanted to do the follow up on the remodel department, right? Which let's talk about this, guys. This remodel department of Wesley, it's like this video should be shared probably with, I don't know, 1 million people just in the United States that struggle to keep their remodeling business afloat, especially when they go from 1 or 2 men in a truck to 5 or 6 men in a truck. All of these folks, when they go from that to the other point, that's the how do you call it, the Bermuda Triangle of remodeling businesses, because now you're not controlling the hours. Now somebody else is estimating. Now they're not adding, as much fluff for this or for that, right? So that is the thing. And these suggestions, tips, testimonials that Wesley is providing, right? He didn't start in remodeling. The remodeling he did because he wanted more customer. He wanted to be the one-stop shop baby. So he got that freaking dud, right? Thinking that he was the big guy. But now he's trying to use a problem as an opportunity. Like, what to do? Do I just close shop? Or do I apply the lessons that I have learned from people that I paid thousands of dollars to learn? Yes, I'm going to apply those lessons, set the expectation, control input, output, hold the person accountable, have conversations that are objective to the point that don't give space for the person that you're paying that much money for to kind of weave their way out of the responsibility, the accountability to the department that you have gifted those guys. Not gifted, but you assigned to them, right? They came to work for you. I don't want to say that you gift anything, but so that's the point. So, share, comment, challenge, because we're always learning, right? As much as I'm really, really freaking good at the consulting thing and these topics, I learn freaking every day. Every day. We all have blind spots, baby. This is a grind.
And then when you know it all, you die.
Well,
And then you get the knowledge from the Lord, the book of knowledge of truths from the Lord, the
right.
whole
whole shebang. But yeah, it's a matter of being. We are always an apprentice in so many different things, and in the being an executive of even your small or medium sized business can be a lonely thing. We created this podcast to be able to share some testimonials in a way that we don't feel like we're being attacked, or we don't feel like, oh my God, I'm the only one who's ignoring that issue in the corner, right? Like Sharon likes to say, no, Jay, sometimes we got to eat our frog first, right? Like, what is that one issue that you're not paying attention to that it's hurting you right now in your business, right? And Wes on the remodeling business, he came from looking at the numbers, right? Look at the numbers. You're losing every week. How come you haven't talked to him, right? So we all have those areas in our businesses. At some point, it's going to come, it's coming, how is it? The chicken comes home to roost kind of thing, at some point.
Yeah, it comes back.
Don't let it be on you. Like, just take the action, rip off the Band-Aid, baby. Rip off the Band-Aid.
Got it.
All right.
Good take. See you later.
See you later. That I think it's important when I think of encouraging people to invest in Brazil, right outside of the United States, that it's not just liking the investment package, but it's also understanding the culture, understanding the people, because this is not just like a 101, put the money in the stock market and forget about it. There is a whole underwriting process. There's a whole idea of selecting the right city, the right environment. That I think it's important when I think of encouraging people to invest in Brazil, right outside of the United States, that it's not just liking the investment package, but it's also understanding the culture,